So it's completely normal to be anxious every now and then. It's a good thing that we feel scared in certain situations and that we can detect if we shouldn't trust something or someone. So anxiety is there to protect us and to keep us safe and to avoid us from making bad decisions. So this response to a dangerous situation is called the fight, flight, or freeze response. So we either fight in the situation or we try to flee. So run away, or we freeze up, so we can't really do anything. What happens in the body is that it prepares us to take action or to run away. So your heart starts pounding and you start to sweat and your muscles tense up because you have to use the muscles to run away or to fight. And also the body starts to produce adrenaline. So this is a very normal response. It's a good thing that the body does this because it makes our odds of survival bigger. But when you feel like this all the time, so when your muscles are very tense all the time and your heart starts pounding really fast in situations that aren't dangerous, then it becomes the question, when is the anxiety too much? So when does your normal anxiety become an anxiety disorder? So psychologists like me, we use the DSM-5 to diagnose if someone has an anxiety disorder or if we see it as kind of normal everyday anxiety. And what we have to do then is that we have to see if someone meets the criteria for the diagnosis of an anxiety disorder. So the DSM-5 stands for Diagnostic Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. So that sounds kind of scary maybe, but we use it as a tool to see if someone meets the cutoff for the anxiety disorder, or if we see it as something that is a normal thing or a temporary thing, for example. And the DSM-5, so this manual, it has a lot of benefits. It also has a lot of downsides, but that's maybe something for another video. I want to look at the criteria. So when do we diagnose someone with an anxiety disorder? So the first criteria, what we see is that there has to be excessive anxiety and concern in multiple areas of life, more often than not, for at least 6 months. What we see here is that the anxiety has to be excessive. And it's a bit of a fake term if we talk about excessive anxiety, but it's that you feel way more anxiety than people would feel in general in that given situation. So for example, if you're sitting on the bus and the bus driver is just driving very slowly in a quiet neighborhood, there's no one on the road, you feel very anxious and you're very alert and you're afraid that you're gonna get in an accident, then we can say, okay, that's excessive. But when the bus driver all of a sudden is driving like a mad person and he's drinking a beer while driving, and he's screaming that he wants to hit the old lady that just wants to cross the road, then it's very normal to be anxious. So in that case, your anxiety is very normal. So you're feeling the same kind of anxiety, but it's actually a good thing that you're feeling anxious because it's a very dangerous situation. So it is still a little bit fake when it is excessive, but in general we can say, okay, excessive is when a lot of the people in general wouldn't feel anxious and you still are feeling anxious and you are thinking about all the possible things that might go wrong. You're really focusing on all of those things and you're really hyper focused and alert when other people are not. You feel anxiety without any apparent reason or any obvious reason, but you still do. You still feel very anxious. And that can lead to a lot of physical symptoms as well. And that is also what we can see in the criteria where it states that anxiety and concern occur with at least 3 of the following symptoms. So you see here restlessness. You are very tired very easily. You have difficulty with concentrating. You're very irritable, very quick a lot of the times. Your muscles are very tensed and also a lot of times very painful. And you have difficulty with sleeping. So you meet the criteria if you have at least 3 of the symptoms that are just discussed. And then when we look at the other criteria, we also see that the worry or concern isn't caused by an illness or by any medication that you're taking, for example, because then that will be the cause of the anxiety that you're feeling. And if you stop, for example, taking the medications, then we see that the anxiety also goes away. And then the last criteria, it states that it affects different areas in life. So, for example, you're afraid to go to school or work, or you have a lot of anxiety with different social situations. So, the general conclusion is that it becomes an anxiety disorder when it takes over your everyday life. So you can't function like you want to because of your anxiety. And when you feel like this, it's really important to take action, to talk to someone about the feelings that you're having, because they are very, very real and very, very valid. And you deserve to have a life that isn't compromised because of this. So anyone deserves to get the help that they need. Also, when you think it's not like severe enough, or you think, okay, by looking at the criteria, I don't know if I meet all the criteria, it doesn't matter. So my advice is to go to talk to someone, because you deserve this, because you deserve a life that isn't compromised because of this anxiety. And also, it's something that a lot of people go through, so you're not the only one. I assure you that you're not. So please seek help if you're struggling with this. It would be a shame if you go through this by yourself, because you don't have to. You don't have to deal with this alone and by yourself. There are a lot of awesome people out there who are incredible in helping you, dealing with this anxiety or giving you advice. So that's what I want for you. Yeah, so if you like this video or you found it interesting, it will be awesome if you could give it a thumbs up. And I hope I'll see you next time again.